All right, let's keep that energy that Shay gave us, right? Keep that energy that Shay gave us. I want you to look at the person next to you and say, this is what healed looks like.
This is what healed looks like.
I need y'all to say that like you're convinced. This is what healed looks like.
This is what healed looks like.
Say, I'm healed in my body.
I'm healed in my body.
I'm whole in my mind. And I'm complete in my spirit. My name is Chris Hampton, and I'm here to talk today about creating the space to maintain your healing. So I said creating the space to maintain your healing. Now, I like to do acronyms because acronyms keep me on the clock, and you learn it and you get it better when you learn it, right? So put down space, S-P-A-C-E. Healing is great, y'all. Healing is great, but maintaining your healing is greater. And when it comes to your healing, right, if you don't make space for your healing, what you're doing is just putting on Band-Aids. We'll come to another event next year and you're still in the same spot you were with your marriage that you were last year because you didn't make space for your healing. You put on a Band-Aid. And Band-Aids are not meant to be for permanent healing. Band-Aids are meant to be what? Temporary, right? Say temporary.
Temporary.
But I don't need a temporary solution. I need a permanent solution. And it's just like, I love how we've been talking about the spiritual conversation because you need to make space for every area of your life. You know what? When we talk about giving our life to the Lord, right? He don't come into your life unless you what? Make space, right? And if you want to have somebody come into your life and you want to get married, right? You have to make what?
Space.
So it's the same principle with your healing. So we need to make sure that we are creating space. And you're like, well, what does space mean? That's the spirit. So say spiritual.
Spiritual.
Now, we've been talking spiritual principles all day this morning, okay? And I'm not going to have you close your eyes and meditate anymore because it's the end of the day and I feel like if you'll close your eyes one more time, I'm going to go to sleep. But meditation is a part of that spirit. When I'm talking about your spirit, I am not talking about the religious experience. Although the religious experience is a part and it's very crucial. But like the brother said in the morning session, like he said, I carried my Bible, but the Bible wasn't in me. And what happens is when you have a spiritual situation that's not connected to the heart, the inner man, what you have is a tradition. And traditions don't last long either because traditions are temporary. Traditions change with whatever goes on in your life. But when you know that you're working on your spiritual man, what happens is you're making a different connection because it's talking about dealing with the inward man. Now, whether we're talking about meditation or prayer, they're both there. And they're both areas. And I know some of you that are muscular, you are great with taking care of your personal being, but you've never made space for your spiritual being. And what happens is in life, the principle is who you feed the most wins. So some of you are great spiritual and you're bad physically. And some of you are great physically, but you're bad spiritually. So when I talk about meditation, meditation is important. We talked about it. I want to amplify your version of meditation because meditation is more than just breathing. And you've done a lot of breath work. And you feel that clean, cleansing feeling you got when you cleaned out that cleansing breath. What happened was you cleaned the room out. But the other part of meditation, I come from the Judeo-Christian value, and we talk about meditation on another level, is what you are pondering and rehearsing in your mind.
Yeah.
And when you are emptying yourself up, it is very important that you replace it with something. All that, and you empty, and you're focusing on that child. But you know what? The weakest link is the area that you ignore. And we're focusing on our younger child, but we have a middle-aged child, we have a teenage child, we have a grown man, we have a seasoned man on whatever season you're in your life. And you're focusing on your child when you need to focus on the whole man. What are you focusing on? And what are you replacing in your spiritual time? What are you feeding in your spiritual time? The next one is P, is your personal, but also your personal boundaries. Your personal time is when are you taking care of your personal body? You take care of everybody else, but your body's falling apart. Y'all need to see the lady in the back and the lead. She gave me a good old B12 shot because I needed it, right? But you got to take care of your body in the physical, because if your spirit is good and your physical is not, y'all gonna sneak Jesus quicker than y'all thought y'all were. And then the other part of that P is the physical boundaries. What physical boundaries are you having? Who are you allowing in your inner circle, part of your inner court or your inner being, or your inner, that sacred place, or are you allowing to speak into your life? Some of you have your ears wide open to people and you're allowing them free rein to your inner court. Personal boundaries. And the problem is, people respect what you respect. And when you don't respect yourself and you're allowing other people to speak in your personal boundary area, they're planting seeds that have to harvest. You have a family member that says, you're just like your daddy. You're just like your daddy. You ain't nothing. Who do you think you are? And because you have no boundary, you allow these people to speak into your life. And what happens is, whatever you feed the most, grows the most. Your personal boundaries are important. Now I'm gonna jack y'all up in my next letter. A, affirmations. Y'all been saying affirmations all day long. And affirmations are key. And affirmations are important. But affirmations are the beginning stage of you reprogramming your mind. An affirmation is a statement that you are entertaining to be true. Some of y'all started this morning and said, I am healed, but you didn't believe you were healed. You said it because we asked you to say it. But it's good that you say it, because when you are saying it, you are reprogramming the way you are thinking. You see, the problem is we try to address your behavior, but I can't address your behavior. I can tell you to go home and love your wife. Go home and just love her. But if I don't change your belief system, which is driven by what you think and what you believe, you see, what you believe affects what you think, and what you think affects what you do. So I can't change your behavior if I change what you believe about you. And affirmations are important, but they're not the end all, the be all. You need C, a confession. And a confession is a stronger, evolved version of an affirmation. A confession is a declaration of what is true. A confession is a declaration of what you believe to be true. So when I say I'm confessing something, I said I am healed. What it means is I believe it so much that it produces an action that I prepare for my healing. The reason why I can say I am healed in my declaration today, and you can say you are healed in your declaration today, is because you put action to receiving and keeping your healing. Your first action was you being in this room today. So when you say that I am healed, I am whole, I have a sound mind, it's because you have put action to it. You believe it so much that it's not just words reprogramming. The programming has been programmed, and now you're living with that insight in that life. E is my favorite. It's the emotional space. And as men, we have to realize that we have emotions. You know, I heard a preacher say, men are egotistical and women are emotional. Like we don't have emotions. I know men who are in prison right now because they could not identify and manage their emotions. Now, our ego is triggered by what? Our emotions. So when someone disrespects a man, I remember when I was a child, I was newly married, and I had a blended family, and my daughter was disrespecting me, and she would always disrespect me when her mother wasn't around. And it would do something to me to the point that it triggered me. And I would be angry, and I would express it, and I would do something that would negate the behavior that she did. It got to the point that I was in a 9-year separation because I did not understand my emotions. When I was in an argument with my wife and I had a water bottle on the table and I went, and the top of the water bottle flew up and the water spilled out, that's when I realized that I had an anger problem. And I had to learn how to address that. I was not an angry person, but I was by myself most of the time. And now I'm put into a family dynamic where it's more than just me. I had to learn how to deal with that emotion. I learned from Dr. Shelley. I learned from Shelley that there's something called an emotional wheel. And y'all all need to Google what an emotional wheel looks like. Because that was the biggest revelation I heard when she told me that there's about thousands and thousands and thousands of variations of what emotions are. But we can only name 7. Angry, happy, sad, joyful. But when you realize that you're angry, but you're not angry because that you're angry for angry's sake, you're angry because you just respected. You were angry because you could not communicate or express yourself. You were angry because you were discouraged, right? But when we realized that there were so many different versions of that emotion, then we learned that for each response, there is a different reaction and a different response to dealing with each one of those. So you have to realize that you have emotions. Say, I have emotions.
I have emotions.
And part of your therapy is being able to learn how to manage your emotion. That doesn't come naturally. It's not something that evolves. As soon as you are triggered in those areas of your emotions that you do not know how to express, you need a therapist. You need an in-between person to come and help translate the things that you're feeling right now. And that's okay. So I'll give you a last acronym before I get off the stage. HEAL. Heal. When I realized I had an anger problem, I didn't condemn myself. I had to realize I needed help. So I said, help myself. So that's what H is, help myself. Say help myself.
Help myself.
You know, the biggest beginning of your journey, man, is realizing that you don't have all the answers, and it's okay that you don't have all the answers, but it's not enough for you to realize that you don't have the answers. You need to be able to have enough humility to say, I need help. Say help.
Help.
And that's the beginning of your healing journey, is when you realize that I need to feel and put some expression to what's going on in my life. E is encourage yourself. Say encourage yourself.
Encourage yourself.
Because in this beginning of you understanding that you are in a healing process, it is going to be a lonely thing. Like the brother said earlier today, when you're going through a tragedy, everybody's around you in the beginning, but when your tragedy lasts longer than 3 weeks, you find yourself by yourself, and you need to be able to encourage yourself. Say encourage yourself.
Encourage yourself.
Because this is going to be a lonely journey, but you know that you're able to get through the journey because you realize that you were never alone to begin with. And with the proper help on the journey, the cross is, I get my cross here, I get my help from above, and I get my help from my friends and the people that care about me the most. Okay? A is accept yourself. Say accept yourself.
Accept yourself.
How many of y'all are perfect in the room? How many of y'all are floating? How many of y'all are walking on water? That's the brother raised the hand has been called out like 10 times this day. He said, I'm perfect. Yes, you know, a good, healthy self-esteem is good, but you gotta be realistic with that thing, right? So you gotta be able to accept yourself. You gotta be able to realize that you're not perfect, that as a man, we're gonna mess up. And even though sometimes everybody else can mess up in the house, but when you mess up, you realize that the roof goes off the house.
Yeah.
So you realize that it's important that I don't mess up, but if I do mess up, I gotta accept that thing and I gotta own it and realize that I gotta accept myself flaws and all, and I'll get accountability for that. We need accountability in our healing. The last letter is love yourself. Love. Say love myself.
Love myself.
I love me some me. I feel like weird saying this in front of a bunch of men, but I just took me 49 years to realize that I was a sexy black man of chocolate descent. I ain't attracted to none of y'all. My wife is home. But I had to realize that Because if you don't love yourself, you can't receive love from other people. When you don't love yourself, what happens is you give permission for people to love you any old way. But when you love yourself, flaws and all, that is the highest definition of your self-care. So I'm out of my time, and I want to say I am going to maintain my healing. I'm going to make space. Say that like you believe it. I'm going to make space.
I'll make
Going
space.
to make space
To heal.
To heal.
So I'm going to open it up for questions. If you have any questions or any things that you want to learn about what happened, we can go in there. Anything I missed, I can probably share any answers. Any questions? Yes, sir. In the back.
Yeah, space, that was an acronym, right?
Yes.
What was the S&P?
Spiritual. And the second one is personal boundaries and personal health.
Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
What book would you recommend on the topic?
There's a book that I like. It's called His Needs and Her Needs. And one of the things that I took away from that book, if I remember correctly, was it's something called the Love Bank, right? And you need to have a love bank, not just for your partner, but you need to understand your love bank for yourself. The other thing that you also need to know is the 5 love languages. Because in order for you to love yourself, you have to understand what your love language is. And a lot of times what we do in relationships is we talk to our partner in our love language and we don't understand what their love language is. We're like, baby, you don't touch me. Baby, you don't affirm me. And what we really saying is my love language is affirming. But you're all touchy-feely to her. But her love language might be security. But if you don't know the love language, one, you need to be able to know your love language so that you can love and love unconditionally. And that's the other thing. We have to learn how to love unconditionally. Because our wife is not perfect and neither are you. And when you give each other grace, right? You give each other grace to grow, grace to love. Then love covers a multitude of sins, right? So those are some books. Good question. Anyone else? All right, let's say it again. I am healed.
I am healed.
I am healed in my body.
I am healed in my body.
I am complete in my spirit.
I am complete in my spirit.
And I have a sound mind.
I have a sound mind.
Thank you. I'm Chris Hampton, champ. I am.